Oh, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for participating today and joining this session, Increasing Equity in Dual Enrollment. We're going to feature the Gateway to College program model. And I have with me Vivian Ostrowski and her colleague, Jeff Hayden, Vice President of Business and Community Services at Holyoke Community College. Jeff's on his way and will join us as we get going here. But our purpose in this session is to highlight some of the best practices from the Gateway to College network, programs that are designed to serve students who are not having success in high school, and they come and they enroll full-time in a full-time dual enrollment program with robust student supports. And we're going to share with you some of the best practices from that work and what the model is about, in hopes that you can apply it to your work in dual enrollment in the context that you're operating in. Vivian, do you want to unmute and say hello to the folks, and then we'll keep going?
Absolutely. Hello, everyone. My name is Vivian Ostrowski. I work at Holyoke Community College. Gateway to College is the best job I ever had. It's the best idea anybody ever had, and I'm eager to share what I know with you today. And I see that Jeff has entered the room as well.
And welcome, Jeff. When you're
Thanks,
ready.
Stephanie. Good afternoon,
Hi.
everybody.
Great. Welcome everyone. So to get us started, I've just got a little quote from Dr. Stout, who we heard from this morning. Community colleges are just such a lever for our students and our communities, and we believe strongly that engaging young people in the community college space as early as possible is really transformative, and it leads to all the things that we want to see in our communities as they become vibrant hubs of equity and access and well-paying, folks that can live their dreams. And we know that early college is really an important part of this work, and we know that there's really tremendous impact, and we've been hearing all day from researchers in the field that are proving that students who participate in college and high school programs are more likely to graduate high school, enroll in college, and persist to a degree and a credential. And that's especially true for low-income and underrepresented students in higher ed. And we also know that dual enrollment is really making an impact on our enrollments, and it's important that we think about dual enrollment not just as a driver for enrollment access, but also as part of our community colleges' commitments to equity and to ensuring that everyone gets access to higher education. And so about 25 years ago, Portland Community College started the Gateway to College model as a full-time dual enrollment program for opportunity youth, young people who were not having success in the traditional high school, who were disengaging from school. And we want to introduce you to start this session off to Mayor Lise Diaz, who is a Gateway to College graduate of the Holyoke Community College program. Every year, Achieving the Dream hosts a large gathering called Dream, and we highlight Dream scholars, one of which is a Gateway student, honoring that network. And right before the pandemic shut everything down, Mayor Lise was in person on the stage. And I'm going to share with you her I Am poem, which will give you a really good window into the type of student that the Gateway to College program serves, and to help you think a little bit as you listen to Mayor Lisa's story about the kinds of supports and relationships that existed in her life, in her experiences, that got her to Gateway and got her on a path to a college credential. Here we go.
I am from
Sound went away, Stephanie.
from Three Kings, from Sofrito. I'm from a mother with serious health issues. I'm from packing up things and picking up roots, moving from Massachusetts to Florida to New Jersey, all before 4th grade. In search of the right doctor, the right hospital, someone to listen, someone to help, someone to cure. I'm from knowing that my mom might pass. I'm from the kind of poverty that comes when you're a Spanish-speaking single parent raising 2 children, who was first sick, then dying, now disabled. I'm from shoplifting for school clothes. I'm from shelters while waiting for Section 8 apartments, places where people were screaming every night and doing drugs in the hallways. I am from rage. I have been angry as long as I can remember. I was behind from day one. Kept inside during recess to learn English, never being in school long enough to learn math. I'm still struggling with my times tables. I'm from super behind, no one wanting to help, putting in no effort, being too busy thinking about home to do anything else. I was the bum, buried in the hoodie, smoking a lot of weed, trying to disappear. I'm from trips to court to tell my personal details in order to get protection from my own father. I'm from the sorrow and confusion that comes with that kind of hurt. This part of my life broke me down to the core, but also molded me into the person that I am today. I'm from people laughing when you say you're just 17. Don't laugh. That's how I felt for a long time. I assumed I would live in rage and depression and be behind forever. But somehow, miraculously, I'm now from hope. I'm from the miracle that happens when just a few key people see you, believe in you, push you, and love you. I'm from the lady who ran the room for delinquents at the end of the high school hallway. I didn't learn much there academically, but she saw my mental health was suffering and she created a safe place for me to be. I'm from Miss Shortman, who ran the alternative program called Pathways. At first, I didn't want to go to her stupid little school for kids with anger issues. But then she loved and supported me so much that I started to feel I was smart. Maybe I didn't have to be stuck. I'm from Gateway to College at Holyoke Community College. I'm from that great feeling when people you respect see you're smart, able, and worthy, and keep pushing you, talking about options, making you do your FAFSA. I'm from change. I'm from being hopeless to a high school diploma. I finished high school with a college 4.0 GPA. I am from goals. I am from a great future yet to come. I'm from a new confidence that will someday have the power to influence where I work, where I live, and how I live. And finally, I'm from my mom, my beautiful, relentless, powerful mom. She never stopped seeing my potential. She's here today. Gracias, mami, te aprecio más de lo que sabes. Thank you.
Okay. Everybody take a deep breath. Vivian or Jeff, do you want to comment on how Mayor Lise is doing now and any updates since 2020?
Yeah, that video never ceases to amaze me, right? Because she was just barely 17 when she spoke in front of thousands. Mayor Lise has a 1-year-old child. She is teaching at the Westfield Boys and Girls Club. She's at HCC studying education, and she is happy and she is powerful, and it is an absolute joy to witness her life.
Thank you for the update. So Gateway started in 2024 or 2004 as a network. It expanded from a program that was launched at Portland Community College in 2000, and it's grown and it's now in 28 community colleges and 28 communities across the country, serving hundreds of students. And it's a college-based high school completion program that provides off-track and disengaged high school students a path to post-secondary success. This disconnection is a real issue post-pandemic, and If you were with me earlier, you've seen some of this data, but I want to highlight it again because I think it really speaks to the need for why we need to be thinking about students who are not in our high schools, are not in our schools right now. Post-pandemic youth disconnection in 2010 was at 14%. It dropped all the way down to 10.7% in 2019. And then with the COVID-19 pandemic, we saw that rate jump up to 12.6%, the equivalent of almost, 4,680,900 young people. That's a huge number of young people who are not actively working or in school, ages 16 to 24. We can see that employment rates were also decreasing roughly at two times the rate of enrollment. And mental health, cognitive disability rates for youth ages 16 to 24 increased a shocking 21, almost 22 percentage points in 2021. And we're seeing, ongoing impacts of that and the lag in learning. School is has become for many young people in this country not a safe place or not a place where they feel like they belong, and we've got to work to counter that. And often the high school, the experience in college is a place that's much more adult, much more flexible, and it gives young people who are off track an opportunity to engage. This data comes from Measure of America. This is a busy slide, but it's a link to their website, and you can actually click on your community and see exactly what the rates of disconnection are in your local area. And I encourage you to do that and to think about the young people who aren't being represented in your dual enrollment or early college programs and how you might build programming and on-ramps so that they can get the support they need to come on campus. The rates are even more exacerbated when we disaggregate for race and identity. Native youth are dramatically much more impacted and disconnected at a much higher rate than white youth. Black youth as well, and Latinx youth are seeing even higher rates of disconnection, and that's work we need to do to re-engage these populations. And so Gateway students, just to give you a little highlight of some of our national level understanding of who students are, they typically come into the program at 16 years old. The average, they range from 16 to 20 years old, roughly. They've earned less than half of their high school credits upon entry, and their high school GPAs are often lower than a 2.0. Our national network does a data report every year, and the average GPA for the network of programs was at entry was a high school GPA of a 1.9. So not your typical dual enrollment student, not the young person that you think is ready or capable of doing well in a dual enrollment program, let alone full-time dual enrollment on a college campus. And folks like Vivian and her colleagues across the country do a phenomenal job in shifting mindsets and providing the supports that are needed in partnership with their districts to make sure students are successful on college. And at its heart, and Jeff, I wonder if you might speak to this slide about the collaboration that exists between Holyoke and your local district partners. It's a really powerful agreement that is in place, in particular in Holyoke, which is where Holyoke Community College sits, where the district is committed to the program at a deep level, sharing resources and commitment, and sees this partnership as a key to its own success. And Jeff, I wonder if you want to just maybe share a little bit of the story of what it took to get there, because you've been at this for a while and you've been part of brokering relationships with over 15 districts around your region.
Yeah, it's interesting because, Stephanie, the initial impetus to join Gateway to College was from Springfield Public Schools. And it was an individual in particular who had seen the model and really thought that it would work in Springfield. Over time, it's almost like, you know, our own college administration and then college faculty came to believe in Gateway, and that belief then spread to the communities around us. And so today, sometimes Vivian, and she might not characterize it this way, but she has to beat back school districts because they want to join and they want to participate. And I think that's all because of the fact that you know, it's an open model, and by that I mean, you know, it's you know, we're going to take students wherever they come from and whatever their need is, you know, in order to help them not only complete high school, get on track for college, and get on track for some kind of career. I find it interesting that when we think about the impact on particular neighborhoods or sections of larger cities, you know, we tend to kind of isolate those issues. In places like Holyoke and Springfield, which are very small communities compared to the rest of the country, the issues of poverty and of lack of access and of inequality confront you and stare you in the face every day. And so this is not only an issue of education. It's not only an issue of workforce development, but it's also an issue of equity and justice. You know, I have gotten in the habit of saying that Holyoke's unemployment rate is 2 to 3 percentage points above the Commonwealth of Massachusetts every year. And I've been saying that for almost 30 years. What's I haven't said, and I'm now starting to say, is that the Latinx population in Holyoke, the unemployment rate is 7 times what it is in the Commonwealth. 7 percentage points higher, not 7 times, 7 percentage points higher. It's an issue of equity. It's an issue of justice, and Gateway is one of those legs of the stool, right? You know, the educational part that helps give people an opportunity, gives them access, but also gives them an opportunity. And I think the open model is about us taking students where they're at and having them be a partner in their education with us. It's not a model of having people sit at the feet of our instructors and learn in that old patriarchal type of approach. It's about them taking ownership of their own education with guidance, with help, and with relentless kindness.
Thank you, Jeff. Awesome. All right, so a little bit more about the model, and then we're going to dig into some of the work that we do at the program level, some of the ways that some of our partners across the network really engage students in that relentless kindness and with the level of support that students need in order to be successful in the full-time college enrollment. So the elements of the model are students earning significant dual credit. We have sustainable partnerships between the districts and the colleges. There are robust holistic student supports, and when it's at its best, and depending on the context, there's innovative teaching and learning. And the program in Holyoke does both all of these things incredibly well, but in particular, the holistic student supports and some of the innovative teaching and learning practices that they've developed in order to support students. So, you know, the programs take place full-time on campus. They're flexible. Students are there. They feel like college students because they are college students. And there's an academic plan between the district and the college that aligns credit and allows for students to earn their high school diploma in a variety of ways, but mostly through dual enrollment. And there's a strong memorandum of agreement. There's consistency. There's financial sustainability. one of the things Jeff does in his role is support the program in securing agreements with the districts to share resources with the college to pay for the students' engagement in the program. So unlike dual enrollment that's funded through state or other sources, because this is such a robust model, there's a significant amount of the per pupil expenditure that the district receives that comes to the college to help pay for staffing and the credits that students earn. And then, you know, there are dedicated support professionals that are embedded in the program that are charged with providing those supports and connecting with students in a personal way that allows them to really rethink their identities as full-time in college students who are ready for the rest of their lives. And so I've got 3 examples from the field, and Jeff and Vivian, I encourage you to unmute. I'm gonna share the holistic student supports that exist at Connecticut State's Gateway campus, which is in New Haven's Gateway program, which is one of our newer partners. And then Front Range Community College's story, another high-performing Gateway program that's having a deep impact in Colorado. And my last slide is the slide on Holyoke Community College and your work. But I figure as we go, you can pepper your experiences and your reflections on this, and we'll kind of sort of go back and forth a little bit like an interview. And for folks on the Zoom, if there are specific questions, please feel free to either unmute and ask or drop them in the chat, and we'll do our best to respond. So here are a couple case studies of Gateway programs and the way that they incorporate holistic student supports in their full-time dual enrollment programs on their campus, and how they partner. In this case, Gateway to College at Connecticut State's Gateway campus in New Haven has a really deep partnership from the get-go with New Haven Public Schools. When this program started, New Haven Public Schools had a budget shortfall, and they cut all of their alternative high schools out of their academic program in the city of New Haven. And the Gateway model was presented as an alternative to the district running its own physical spaces all across the city of New Haven to provide students who are on the verge of dropping out with an alternative high school. And so those students matriculated into the college full-time. The district provides a full-time special educator and a quarter-time college counselor and social worker to the program. And they also engage resource specialists. They have dedicated faculty, and the per pupil funding pays for that staffing. Gateway Community College has a history of being a career and technical college, and so students are able to get some experience in those technical programs at the college. And some of the graduates have been transferring to a summer career prep program. So they've built the program model with an intentional career pathway. They've also leveraged a curriculum as part of the first year experience for students called Pathways to Success, which is a research-based tool that is rooted in the idea of identity-based motivation. And it's an intervention that helps young people understand sort of where they are today and how the actions they take today impact their far future self. It was developed by a researcher named Daphne Oyserman. It's been adopted by Chicago public schools, and it's being implemented in all of their middle schools. And many Gateway to College programs, you have begun to use this tool as a way to help the students sort of start to make meaning of who they are, why this work is important, and what they need to do in order to keep moving forward. Vivian uses a phrase, relentless kindness. You heard it from Jeff. And I wonder, Vivian, when you look at what program in New Haven is doing, if any of this resonates, some of it comes from you. Could you help them launch as well? Any thoughts or reflections on how this plays out in your context in Holyoke?
The sweet spot is when students can take classes where they're getting credit for high school, credit for college, and able to explore something that they might be interested in, right? So if I have a kid who can take a criminal justice course, that meets their social science requirement for high school, but it also lets them meet college faculty, engage with other students, and really see themselves in a different kind of way, right? Now, we don't always get there, but that's the sweet spot. The support is incredible because yes, the flexibility and independence. You talked about flexibility earlier. The best part about Gateway, the flexibility and independence. The worst part about Gateway, the flexibility and independence, right? Because you have students who come out of really restrictive K-12 environments. You're talking high schools, picture it. I don't know if you've been to a high school lately, but the bell rings and 1,000 people are in the hallways and lockers are slamming and kids are slapping the walls and folks are trying to make their way to their next class in 5 minutes. And it feels so incredibly overwhelming, right? And so so many of our students have such anxiety that they can't darken the door of the schools. So coming to us where the environment is much more chill, kind of nobody has to go to college. People are older. There's no bells and whistles. There's no, and so having the physical environment feel kinder, gentler, more expansive, and then having dedicated staff on an educational level, but also on a guidance level, on a career level, trying to, and it's a one-on-one model. It's for us, it's less cohort, which I know some programs do more cohort, but every student has a different schedule because they bring in a different number of credits, they have different graduation requirements, they may or may not have passed the state standardized test, and they're on a different career path. And so from the very first, it's an individualized experience for students who would not have been invited to take one damn dual enrollment course under the regular system because they weren't doing well enough. Why weren't they doing well enough? This is on us, folks. This is on the systems, right? And so I can talk later about some of the things we've done to mitigate because it's not magical. You know what? Folks aren't automatically successful once they change the environment. We need to change our practices and procedures as well, right? All right, I'm done for a minute.
Okay, awesome. We're gonna move to Colorado. And we've got a clap. Thank you, Karima. And a question from Lauren. Are your dual enrolled students in the same classes as the older regular college student or only in dual enrollment cohorts with other high school students? Great question. It depends on the program. It depends on the student. But Vivian, in your case, they're mostly cohorted because you're serving a larger number of them, correct?
So they're in cohorts. We do a combination of credit and non-credit kinds of classes in terms of the side of the house. The first semester they're in with Gateway students and Gateway instructors who are also, most of our instructors actually are full-time HEC instructors who teach for Gateway as a kind of act of justice, right? Plus we have some adjuncts. Then as students kind of prove themselves to themselves and become able college students, they're out there with the rest of the general population. That makes me hyperventilate at some points because I don't know how they're doing day to day. I know when they're in our Gateway classes because we communicate all the time. So it's a risk, and I guard students' college transcripts like it's Fort Knox, because whatever they do and as a dual enrollment students counts against or for their ability to get federal financial aid when they're done. And I take that incredibly seriously. So the sweet spot for me is being able, well, we might talk about it later, but finding ways to have them have the college experience and all the benefits of that while mitigating the risks.
Jeff, did you want to weigh in?
I think that the one piece that Vivian hasn't mentioned yet is really the fact that it takes the whole college. And I think we were naive when we started our Gateway to College program and assumed that, well, we can do it in isolation. And I think Vivian and her team over the years have proved that it does take the whole college, and whether that's accessing the President's Student Emergency Fund, whether that's dealing with transportation issues or food-related issues, whether it's food insecurity type family issues that need to be addressed. And so any service that's available at the college needs to be made available to the Gateway student. And so it really does need to be a whole college approach, and admissions getting engaged, academic counseling getting engaged, frankly, campus police getting engaged, all are useful pieces in terms of trying to support the individual student.
Great, great comment.
Right. Student accounts, financial aid, Office for Students with Disabilities, et cetera. Back to you, Stephanie.
And the registrar's office, that was a huge win, and we will get to that.
Huge.
Because it wasn't always so. And how long has your program been in operation?
We came out of the ground in 2008. The first 2 years were a little rocky. My team came on board in 2010.
Okay, great. All right, so we will also get to the question on students taking courses with high school faculty, although that is not necessarily this team's area of expertise, but I think we will be able to weigh in on that. But let me share a little bit about the program at Front Range in Colorado. This is such an intentionally well-designed model, and they shared that they have been super thoughtful about how the student experience goes from the get-go, and also they've been intentional about leveraging community resources, in particular around mental health, as well as the resources already surrounding the students in the form of their families and folks that care about them. So this program serves over 130 students. It's a relatively large model. It's been around for over 15 years. They have student support teams that when a student enrolls in the Gateway program at Front Range, they automatically identify anywhere from 4 to 6 individuals that they ask very concretely to serve as that student's student support team. And so it could be a parent, a big sister, a faculty member, the resource specialist, the staff member from Gateway that is assigned to that student, and others that they believe will be effective at meeting that student's needs if that student gets into any kind of trouble in terms of progress in the program. They've also partnered with mental health facilities, mental health practitioners, and groups that come onto campus and are able to meet with students in group settings and also in one-on-one as needed. So they have a referral program that's built right in and is situated on the college campus. They are also very intentional about the new student first year experience. And so every student completes, as Vivian shared, that first semester is really a critical bridge. It's a critical moment for students to get their college knowledge built, understanding what it is, understanding what it means to do the work, how to do the work. And it's also an opportunity for the program and the college to get to know the student. And so in the first year English class for the first year students at Front Range, they assign a hero's journey exercise for students to complete in the first weeks of the semester. And they have to write about their own hero's journey. And then they have to share that hero's journey back with the class, with their student support team. They have to share it publicly. So from the get-go, the staff in the program, the faculty in the program are hearing the story, like we heard Mayor Lisa's story, that brought that student to class, to this program. They assign students in groups in that first year. And then once they've moved through the first semester, they also create smaller packs of students, and they task those students with taking care of one another. They're very communicative. They have regular meetings one-on-one with students in the first weeks of school with their support team. And they have weekly community meetings where they're reinforcing the messaging and creating that sense of belonging and connection. And I see you and we see you and we've all got one another. They are robust, family and community engaging, using apps. If a student stops coming to the program, one of the program directors goes and does home visits. And they've also got K-12 guidance and leadership teams at the table helping them to support students as they go. Any questions about this or any reflections on what we've just heard, what I just shared? And now we go to Holyoke. And Vivian, I'm happy to do the highlights if you want, or if you want to speak to it. These were some of the things that we've identified as being really powerful and robust supports. Opportunity Academy is a district-run re-engagement center that in Holyoke Public Schools that has student services professionals that are working to re-engage students that have fallen away from the Holyoke Public Schools, and then get them ready to go up to Holyoke Community College and enroll in the Gateway program, rather than create an alternative high school in the district. The district put its resources into creating a more aligned pathway to the program at Holyoke Community College. Vivian has miraculously figured out how to get her systems to align. So there's now parallel registration between high school and college credits, so that we can hold students harmless if they earn a D. They don't get that mark on their college transcript. They only earn the high school credit. And she's also been really successful at building relationships with the faculty at the college, so that she can offer a whole array of really high value courses for students that help hook them into being college students. And Vivian, I'll let you speak at more length about these things, but it's I just want everybody in the room to know that you're here with someone who has been at this for a good amount of time and has really figured out how to meet this population of students in a really robust way.
So our challenge, right, is we wanted to give our students an actual college experience. And early on in the program, we put them into college courses. And then we realized they weren't ready for the college courses and they failed them, or they were withdrawn. And then they didn't meet SAP. And then when they finally graduated from high school, they weren't eligible to go to college. And that felt like malpractice, right? And so for a while, we just got really conservative and we didn't put students into many college classes at all. That didn't feel right either, right? Because earning credit is part of what makes the difference in terms of students' futures. Also, most of our students place into our most basic English developmental course and our most basic math developmental course, which means they've got a journey before they're eligible for college classes. And as you know, well, I don't know if this is national, I think it is, that a grade that you earn in a developmental class on the college side counts towards your financial aid eligibility, right? It doesn't count towards your college transcript, but it counts towards your financial aid transcript. So if a student doesn't do well in a developmental course, it simply hurts them, right? It hurts their financial aid transcript. They may have to take the course multiple times. And so we are diminishing their ability to be successful in their future. So we got a little bit, we kind of got a little crazy here. And this is the thing I'm most proud of. And I hope goes on my tombstone once I'm gone, is that we have figured out how to use the non-credit side of the house in conjunction with the credit side of the house to actually serve students. So stay with me. We offer at our campus, it's math 11, 12, 13, and 14. That makes you then eligible for college math. It's English 085, 095, and then you're ready for English 101. And our students take the college placement test when they come to the campus, and they start where they start. So we offer math 11, 12, 13, and 14, and English 085 and 095 on the non-credit side of the house, as our prefix is GTWY. And we have articulation agreements with the academic departments that were not the easiest things to achieve, my friends. Articulation agreements that say if a student earns a C- or better in developmental math 11, they are then eligible for math 12, and so forth as we go through. Getting those agreements was so profound because it meant that we finally trusted each other, that our academic departments trusted that we weren't trying to get something for free for our kids, right? We weren't trying to circumvent things. We were trying to give people a little breathing room because lives are complicated. Our students are still homeless. They're still housing, food insecure. They're still really suffering with mental health. They're still trying to get their kids on the bus. They're still doing all those things. They do not pass everything that they take with us. In fact, they don't pass a lot of things that they take with us. But I'm not destroying their college transcript when we do that. And then as students' lives get more grounded, as they become more college ready, as things kind of fall into place, then we're able to put them into college classes, right? So our developmental classes are done on the non-credit side of the house. And B, we have articulation agreements with maybe 10 courses out there that our students can take on the non-credit side with the same faculty who teaches the credit course, right? If they earn a C- or better, they get college credit and high school credit. If they get a D, they get high school credit. And if they fail, they have experienced a college class. They now know what they need to do to be successful in a college class, but we did not destroy their college transcript. That feels almost magical. I'm happy to take questions about that because I think that's the most important thing that we do. Right now, we're offering a forensics course. It's a 4-credit college lab science. And our students complained the first 2 weeks because it's a 2.5-hour lab and they thought I was like trying to kill them. But about 2/3 of those students are going to pass that class and get college credit. So that's kind of our sweet spot. In terms of how we kind of think about it, we have 4 rules in Gateway. As Jeff said, like maybe the college wasn't ready, and we had to figure out what our culture was going to be. Number 1 is show up. Part of it's with your body, but it's really with your quirkiness, your curiosity, all those things, your good days, your bad days. Number 2, do your work, and a tiny bit of that is academic. The rest of it, right? You're in this new place. You're seeing yourself differently. You're learning to manage conflict. You're learning to communicate. You're learning to advocate for yourself. All those things. Number 3 is communicate. Our students have all the resources of the college campus, but we can't read their minds. And so each of us, we check in every week around every kid and make sure that every kid is connected with somebody in the program. And if they're not, we make sure we go find them, right? Because one hiccup can lead to the abyss. So we need to be on it all the time. And then number 4 is to be kind to yourself, to the people you live with, and to kind of our environment in school. So that's our sweet spot, is being really creative with our registrar, right? And then building a community that is rooted in kindness.
Thank you, Vivian.
And Stephanie, could I just add a little? One of the things that happened early on when that school district partner invited our president, our academic VP, and myself to go out to Portland to learn about Gateway to College. I kind of was asking the question, why am I here? I'm a workforce development guy. I'm a community engagement type person. I'm not sure how this connects with us. And it wasn't until Vivian and her team started to do this magical piece with the non-credit courses that I said, thank God that this program landed in our division, because it meant that the flexibility that we have to have, because we're dealing with people who have families, people who are unemployed, underemployed, people who have limited educational attainment, limited work history, et cetera, that same culture that we have to deal with adult learners is something very similar that the Gateway to College student needs. And so it worked out, but in some sense it was by luck that it ended up in my division.
And the best things often happen that way, right? Like for reasons we can't always know, but it works out. I'm wondering if there are any questions from all of you in the audience. Please feel free to unmute or pop a question in the chat. What did anything inspire you from what we've shared? Does anything feel like it would be really hard to pull off in your context? We'd love to hear that and talk to you about how you might figure it out. All right. So if you are interested in learning more about the Gateway model and how it might work in your community, the things we think about really is whether or not there's an investment of resources that exists in your state or in your local school district to serve struggling students, adjudicated students, or out of school youth. How active and healthy are your partnerships? I think to serve struggling students. Is there a way to leverage your existing partnerships with your traditional dual enrollment programs to build a model designed for this population? And also, how can you bring some of these supports to the dual enrolled students that you're serving? And think about other layers of support that you could be providing to the students that are coming into your dual enrollment programs, and who's not coming into your dual enrollment programs, and how do you layer in these supports so that you can better serve those students as well. They're most likely the students that will stay in your college and continue. Unlike in many community colleges, we see dual enrolled students using the dual enrollment program as a lever to jump off to a four-year institution. Whereas serving students that may be struggling with the right supports may actually generate students that'll be part of your community for a very long time. All right. Thank you for the shout out, Lauren. And if you'd like to talk more, my colleague Nick Mathern, who's in the chat and we presented earlier today, this is a link to our shared calendar. If you want to learn more, just talk to us offline about any questions that come up for you as you think about this model and our program. We'd love to hear from you, and we'd love to support you in your work. And I just want to do a big shout out to Vivian and Jeff. Thank you for taking the call and and saying yes when I invited folks to join me here. Your story at Holyoke Community College is so inspiring, and it's just a gift to get to work with both of you in this network. Thank you for your leadership and for demonstrating what's possible.
Let me just say kind of the obvious, which is it is absolutely audacious to think that students who have less than a D average in high school can be successful in college. And I say to you that they can, if we can be flexible enough to make that possible for them. And so please don't let dual enrollment don't let dual enrollment increase the gap, right? Let's use dual enrollment to actually do the work of justice. And that's what this is able to do. And that feels so profound to me, which is why I say yes, Stephanie, all the time, right? Because we serve almost all of our students are Black or Brown. All of our students are first generation students. They come from families that don't have resources. And if we don't do something, we know what happens. And so we have a chance to do something. All right, soapbox over. Thank you.
There's your booster shot of equity for the day, and we appreciate all of you for showing up, and we'll see you in the other sessions. Have a great afternoon, everyone.